Ooh, wake up the cat. Wake up the cat. No signal. Just a sec. Start as we mean to go on. The cat is sleeping, guys. Give me a sec. Welcome everybody. And we're in. And I lost all my windows. You've got to be joking. Oh no, it's all good. Welcome back everybody. Episode 316. This is the Inside Line on Scuffed Epoch. I'm Drift Johnson. Welcome to the show. We're going to be taking a look at a bunch of comfy stuff. So if you're a comfy user, you'll enjoy this one. Alright. Let's take a look. Furnicar, Battlecruiser operational, liked and subscribed. We have audio. Oh, that's good. That's good. Excellent. Now, where were we? As I say, episode 316. It is 7 o'clock or just gone on the 8th of February. So, what have I got for you guys? Well, we can start off on GitHub. Don't forget, there's a join link in the description. The Inside Line is a channel up on our Discord. Everything that we're talking about is there. There are links for everything with images, and we're going to be getting into a bunch of these different things. We've got all sorts of stuff, audio generation, narrative generation, although that would be a Claude plugin. I've started the Claude plugins project, so you can expect plugins, which probably are like, you know, the skills, a lot of the skills that we use. So that's number one. Number two, I'm not going to bother going through all this. We're going to actually show you the demos first tonight. So first off, we have scuffedepoch.com/image-cleaner. Very simply, drop your image in there and it saves a version which no longer has the comfy embedding. And there is, of course, a GitHub with a JSX component showing how that was done. We also have prompt extractor, which allows you to drop a ComfyUI image in and get the prompt out. So let's just grab this one, for example, and see what we get. Now, as you can see here, there's some controls, because sometimes workflows are very complicated, okay? And so it might not get the prompt first. It might get a system prompt for a nano banana or whatever it is, okay? Because what my method does is it looks for the longest prompt, which isn't always the prompt, as you can see. Sometimes it breaks. But you can filter it by doing next. And you see this one, dramatic fashion illustrating merging Geiger biomechanical aesthetic. There you go. See, this was not. That was just some JSON garbage. And this is unenhanced. So you've got two different forms because there's multiple prompts, you see. And then there would be the nano banana feedback, right? It's all in there. But what this does, it gives you more than just a prompt, because we don't really know where it is or what it's going to be called. So many different workflows, right? So what this does is it gives you an ability to just figure out offset 2. And in the Comfy Node version of this, because there is a Comfy Node version of this, you can load the image and then set the offset and have it pull them out. So if you know that your workflow always produces at string 2, you're good to go. Like I said, it has to be adaptable to a point. And I used longest string to find the information from the meta. So it's non-destructive. It doesn't touch the file. All right, moving on. Off square. So I like my collages, and I made a comfy node for this as well. So obviously if we just pick a bunch of these, and it's going to allow me to reorder them, and I can say, oh, I want 4 to 3 please. And off square means sometimes we have a sacrifice, unfortunately. This woman in the middle, she got covered up. So let's see, where is she? Which one is that one? I think it's that one. Tell you what, I'll get rid of this one instead and regenerate. There we go. So what it does is it usually picks the first image to fill if it's vertical, and then the last image gets bottom right. And that's about it, guys. It's got an automatic. Yeah, the idea is you obviously download that, and then we have our little character sort of, what do you call it, key art. It's like a key art creation tool. So, and it will batch, like I said, it'll batch in. Oh no, it won't. No, that's top secret. No, this one is max 6 images. And it'll automatically do a different strategy. So if I get rid of that one there, I say, oh, that doesn't really work. It's going to change it to be like this now. Okay? And then say I think, oh, that one actually there is bad. Let's find one that looks more like her without the yellow. Like that one? No. All of these are coming from Laura's and workflows that we're going to be looking at tonight. So we'll add that back in and generate, and now we've got it. Do we have it? Yeah, there it is. All right, so that's pretty much it. I think auto collage is nice. I called it off square because the last image is not on the grid. You see what I mean? It's actually top left, bottom left. And you see how the wide image went full wide to make up the 3. I think it's a nice way of automating that task. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of different strategies that get picked from automatically depending on how many images you had. So if I just put a bunch of stuff from a couple of weeks back in there, so we have 6, and then we're going to go, let's say we'll say 16 to 9 and generate. So then we end up with this. So it's a nice way of making quick collages. So you've just generated a whole bunch of images and you just want to get a quick, put a quick demo together. As you can see, it doesn't, you don't lose any quality. Nice. So anyway, full JSX is in the GitHub repo, which is on my GitHub. All right, next. New WAN Magic LoRa. So this is going to be using my M8T 90s anime LoRa, which just went up on Hugging Face not so long ago. It's very simple. It's just a LoRa. The trigger is M8T style. It's targeting Mobile Suit 8th Gundam Team. Okay, or Mobile Suit Gundam 8th Team, however you want to put it. So it's that generation of anime. If anything, I was using a special technique to caption it, which is going to be coming out next week. But basically the technique captions video directly into an image model for training with things like WAN. So I did it generally, so that means it's like full automation. So the problem was, if you think about a Gundam TV show, the pilot, like the main pilot, was a dude, and so there's a bias towards male faces because it didn't caption him as the hero, but he is overrepresented in the data. So what I'll probably do is just cull his images and retrain, and then it will become a general style model again. So that was the only upshot. Because he's in so many of the scenes, being the main character, his face comes through. It's kind of funny. Anyway, aside from that, so there'll be a V2, but the actual style transfer works really well. It looks like 4:3 VHS 92, 93 style anime. It's very nice. Anyway, moving on. Got a new technique for creating websites, microsites. So we go chat, grounding. So we say, I've got an idea I want to get information on. You write it up into something called a grounding artifact, which is written in Markdown. The fact that you call it a grounding artifact offers a lot of wrapped implication, and so he'll make a really good, solid sort of research artifact, okay? And then you can use that for a number of things. So in this case, I've shown you all how you can do research to JSX component, which can then be implemented like Lego bricks in a larger architecture using Claude Code. Okay, very easy to do. But now what I'm doing is I'm showing the quick prototyping, because we don't need all of that stuff. So this was not made with Vite. It was not made with... it may have React in it, but it was not built on a big framework. All I did was I said, we're going to do the grounding document, and then you're going to use the grounding document to write JSX. So same as before, but we're going to immediately write an inline HTML. So it's super fast, it goes straight to code, so you go straight to web, rather than, because like I said, something simple like this, a little promotion website, a little front page for a holding, you can make it, it's got no login features or anything fancy, yeah? So what is this? This is scuffedepoch.com/jojos-timeline. So the grounding document is in the GitHub, along with the, what we did, okay? And obviously I said I want a little promotions thing because Steel Ball Run is coming out, okay? So I'm like, make me a little anime info site that compares the JoJo Bizarre Adventure timeline. So under original, we have the full timeline with all of the everything from my 100,000 BC all the way through to 2012. No spoilers. So it's in chronological order for fun, right? But then we also have the parallel timeline of Steel Ball Run, which is kind of nice because a lot of people are looking for, they want to know what's going on with Steel Ball Run. Okay, so like I say, this was all built with like 2 or 3 prompts, and then it was immediately available for hosting. So it just comes out straight to HTML is what you want to think. I just wanted to show the power of doing something like that using the tins. So we've gone tins from the grounding and then built the website. So it's just web design, guys, but it's just quicker than it has ever been. And if you look at the quality, this is nice. It doesn't look like an AI website. Do you know what I mean? Like there's trappings with the AI design. We can even, what is it? Oh no, the other one's got filtering. Okay. And this is quite complicated as well. The JoJo's Bizarre Adventure timeline is not an easy thing to summarize. And he's put it into chronological order regardless of the events, so they all overlap. Anyway. So that's that. And then just to repeat the process, because I wanted to show how easy and how quick it was, we did the same thing with the Gundam Universal Century timeline, which is another ridiculous thing to try and do a chronology on, because there's so many series and so many spin-offs and mangas and video games and adaptations. And so that's what it's tried to do here. It's tried to make it, so we did grounding document to inline JSX HTML5. No Vite. Now there may be React. I'm not going to say there isn't React, but it will be inline. So that means it's much lighter and faster. The restriction is you can't do too much. So if you want to do like logins and all authentication or lots of images, it starts to get bloated, you see. That's why you need the bigger frameworks. But for something simple like this, which has got no images, it's just all, Lucid icons and a little bit of cool CSS styling. I mean, you can open these up, actually. It's very cool. So you've got, this is the same thing as before, but I think we have a filter so we can skip to particular series in the timeline. Because what is it, 29 years? You would have thought it was longer, wouldn't you? It only goes 29 years. Anyway, so like I said, we did all the research and then straight to, and this is not a small website, I hope you can appreciate. I mean, it is and it isn't. There's a lot of information here is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, right the way down to Gundam Unicorn. So yeah, there you go. And like I said, we've put the full source and the process and the grounding, everything up on the GitHub repo. You'll find it. Okay. Repo time. So we made the added typos skill, which is a new skill for Claude Code. And what it does is it makes mistakes. Okay, you give it some text and it will make spelling mistakes. But it's a little bit more than that. What I did was I made a couple of special mistake subroutines. One of them is sticky keys, to simulate that a key is sticky. All right. Another one, adjacent key errors, to simulate with a QWERTY layout that somebody missed a key. Transpositions. So swapping letter pairs from typing rhythm. Often I'll do this all the time, when you type a word and then you type the words in the wrong order because your fingers were going at different speeds. Same thing. Dyslexic patterns, so letter reversals, phonetic spelling and syllable drops. And then punctuation habits, so basically putting commas in the wrong place and stuff like this. Now, why would you do this? I would say to make in-universe media more authentic. But there's a trick to it, which we're going to get to. This is the basics. So we're introducing the concept here of we want to make imperfect text. All right? And there's lots of reasons why you would want to do that. It's not just about pretending to be human. It's more than that. We're going to go to the next one now. Added rambling skill. This is based on the exact same thing, but it allows rambling. Okay? So the knight approached the castle gate. The knight approached the castle gate through calling it a gate. Felt generous, giving the state of hinges, which reminded him of the blacksmith back in Thornbury who told him that, like iron, unlike bronze, which would weep in the rain, which was a strange way to put it, but Then again, the blacksmith had also believed that crows could predict the weather. And speaking of crows, so this is a rambling skill, okay? This is meant for narrative and copy. So you might be doing some like funny pamphlets or something. You want to have some rambling in speech bubbles. It can be done with stubs and automated. So this would be what I call a stub, all right? And like I said, you can work with stubs, and we'll be getting into that later. So like I say, I don't want too many spoilers, but the point is this is going to do tangential drift, circular repetition, and a bunch of other really cool subroutines that we've put in here. Excessive qualification had confirmed or appeared to confirm, or at least failed to disconfirm our hypothesis. Brilliant stuff. I call it waffle, but you know, rambling is another thing. Just nonsensical speech, or just speech for the sake of speech. Some characters do this in stories, and so it's nice to have something to draw from. Okay. But that gets us to the deterministic typo skill. So this is using my 0 bytes methodology to lock down the seed so that it doesn't just make mistakes. It makes the same mistakes every time. So if you give it the same letter and seed, it will give the same mistakes. And so that means if you have the seed attached to the ID of a person that is potentially writing things, they will always write emails with the same sticky key, the same short finger, whether they have dyslexia or not, all of this sort of thing. Makes it much more organic. Anyway, and it's like I said, it's consistent. So it's not like, oh, it's a different mistake every time. No, it's the same mistake every time. Because it's determined by the position of the text. Position as seed methodology. So that's the whole concept. Now, it can pretend, unfortunately, with some of these things, it can pretend. So it can say, I've done it. And then you'll find it's not deterministic. And the reason is because some LLMs, when they run the tools, they can't run the Python script. If you have an LLM that can run the Python script, it will be deterministic because it will use XX-32. And that's how you'll know, because it does actually use Python for the skill to make sure it is deterministic. Running on CPU, this should be deterministic. If you're trying to accelerate this as part of your project, be careful because silicon is not always deterministic. So you don't, but to be honest, this is such a small thing. I don't think you would ever put that on GPU. So you should be fine. Right, so there we have it. If you want to learn more about that, go ahead and install the skill and give it a spin. When you invoke it, there's a couple of cool tricks you can do here. So add typos to draft is auto-seeded. Add typos to draft.md with seed 42. That'll lock you into 42. But there's also more. You can say heavy intensity speed typist. All right. Or you can say type seed 200. There's actually multiple seeds. So you have the position seed that determines where the typo is going to be made. And then you have the type seed, which is the type of error that gets made at that position. So it's actually a two-dimensional deterministic typo system. And the thing is, you might say, why did you go so crazy with the overdevelopment of this? I didn't. This is the result of TINS with the 0 byte skills. That's it. It's the combination of the two systems that we already built. TINS came out last summer, maybe, and the 0 bytes came out in last month, I think. I figure just that's quite new. Okay. So sticky keys, and like I said, it even considers, what amazed me was it even considers the keyboard layout. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you could fork this to make it for a different keyboard layout, but you'd have to change the code. It's not a hard thing to do, I'm sure, but you could certainly have it do a different keyboard layout if you wanted. So it's going to make mistakes according to like Cyrillic or some other Chinese or whatever it is you're targeting. The whole idea is, if you want to make some like special effects and you want to have some person chatting back to you in a movie scene, for example, you can just have it all generated. And it's not LLM. Anyway, let's keep going. Because even though this is a skill, this is just Python. All right? It's just Python. Anyway. And it uses 0 bytes because everything is inside 0 bytes. All right. Intensity. All right. So unlike other systems which will just do an enhance, or they'll just make mistakes, like you say, make mistakes. You can ask ChatGPT to do that. But will it be the same every time? And that's what determinism gives you. It gives you reproducibility. And to be honest, this is the same technology that we use all the time when we're generating images. All right? Because where did the seed come from? Yeah? Okay. It's already in the system. We're just using it for something else. And I'm borrowing video game engineering techniques for prompt engineering. And so we're going to be introducing a bit more of that as we move on. Next up, Offsquare JSX. This is the repo for the automatic collage with an offset grid. Already done. Here we have the Unified Chronology, 1 Year War, Universal Century Gundam. This would be the process, which is how we did the research and what we've actually built here. And let me just check, see up here a bit. Demo HTML Gundam Timeline JSX. So you see, we made the JSX, we made the inline demo, that's it. This is all the source code. I'm not holding back. That's all of it. Okay? We make the grounding. Where's the grounding document? Did I forget to include the ground? I'll see if I can find that. It may be there isn't one. I may have just simply done in one prompt. Do the research, write the JSX, make the demo, write the README, do it all in one, and then I just download the zip and upload. Obviously, I test it to make sure it works, and if it doesn't, then I give it a little poke. But to be honest, a lot of this stuff is just one shot, straight to production, with no framework, because reality is he already has it in him. All right. JoJo's Bizarre Chronology. So this one shows the grounding technique. So here what we have is the grounding document that was produced. So as you can see, this is the grounding document that was used to actually generate the website, or rather the data that was going to go into the website. Because if you just imagine the website's just an empty framework, you know, where do you get the copy? Well, I just did the deep research to make the grounding for the copy to go into, and then everything that's here must be supported by the framework. So he just says, oh, make it all match. And here's your HTML file, straight to deployment. If you missed it, just rewind to the first part of the show where we showed the website off. So yeah, that one was obviously going from grounding to JSX to HTML. One thing you'll notice with all of my JSX repos is you often have the integration document, which helps you or your favorite LLM implement the JSX adapted to your code base. So it won't even necessarily be a JSX, it might be a TSX for TypeScript or something else. It's going to adapt the logic into your project, and often this will just then be a guidance of pseudocode effectively, right? But you'll notice that whenever I make my JSXs, I make the JSX from concept, and then I tell him make the HTML, the README, and the integration all in one prompt. Do you know what? I'm just going to show you that real quick. Because once you see the prompt, JSX publish, look. There it is. So imagine the scenario. I've already made my JSX, right? It works. I've got the JSX, it's working. It's in the Claude conversation or whatever. Or the GPT conversation, I don't judge. Or Gemini, hey, you know, it's all the same. I've used them all and they all work great now. But then you come along with this prompt. All it requires is that you make a GitHub, an empty GitHub repo with the matching name of the JSX. And then I simply copy the GitHub repo here. And then I use whatever its name was here. When I run this prompt, it's going to do three things. It's going to create the demo HTML to demonstrate the component features with the name I gave it. So that's my integration document, instructional guide for adaptation of the component into new projects. So there you go, to help other people use my JSX. Create the README, which will introduce the component, what it does, and point out the demo HTML for quick preview, integration guide for developers, and then this is my URL. Then add my citation to the bottom. Okay? And as you can see, the citation is written out like a template, right? So he's going to just make that correct. Obviously, the next thing you do, it's going to create you the demo, the integration, and the README. And then after that point, You just upload it all. It couldn't be easier. Prototyping's never been faster. If you can think of it, you can have it shipped in within an hour, and you don't need a Lovable or anything like that. You just need a free Google account, Gemini Build, or a GPT account, or a Claude account. All of it is viable for this. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was that I'll give out the JSX with the demo HTML. So all I did was I said, let's not be complicated. Let's just use grounding to make the demo HTML or the JSX for the website, the microsites. Okay, so anyway, this one is Workflow Cleaner JSX. So that one's self-explanatory. Prompt Extractor JSX. Now these are the Comfy node versions. We're going to be showing off the Comfy nodes in a bit, so I won't spend too long on it. But it's exactly the same as the website. You get an offset. As long as you have the right offset, it will output your prompt. I'm sure there are edge cases because there's so many different ways to prompt in ComfyUI. Like, for example, I have something called Prompt Combiner, which splits your prompt into 4 pieces. And so you have 4 strings, and sometimes they're very short. Obviously, that's a bit of a, whoa, I put in an exemption or a special way to detect that. But that's like, you can't do that. There's hundreds of... So, yeah, it works. But I'm sure there are edge cases. Comfy prompt extractor nodes. Isn't that just what we were just looking at? I don't know. Maybe I clicked on it twice. Anyway, prompt extractor v2 allows the offset I was talking about. Yeah. So living portrait JSX. Right, I haven't even shown this one off. I think I even forgot to share it. So let's just show this one real quick. It's just a bit of fun. I was having a few ideas in a different direction one day. And so I made the living portrait. Now, living portrait is exactly what it says. So let's get ourselves a portrait. That'll do. Okay, so here we have our portrait. I can put a dot there and a dot there. That's a bit big. Maybe I'll move it a little bit. I should have got a bigger portrait. But anyway, I'll lock it. Now, when I press space, the spots that I painted glow red, and the idea was you then hook it up to volume for attenuation, and when your agent TTS is speaking, you have different pages. See how I have profile slots? So you can have emotion assigned to each slot, or, you know, different idle positions, whatever. And then all it is at the moment, the eyes glow when they talk. You see what I mean? It's just supposed to be basic. It's not supposed to be animated. It's like a lightweight image. Maybe you'd have a robot with the glowing eyes. But I am looking at doing a lip-based. You click the lips and then it puts the animated mouth there. You see what I mean? I'm sure you've seen this kind of thing before. It's voice-driven lip sync stuff. And then you make a spread, like what do you call it? A sheet. Tile sheet, which has got the different mouths. So it's pretty easy to set up, I think. But that's going to be living portrait too. So at the moment it's just do, okay. And the idea is it's already got the code in there. It's just hooked up to the spacebar for demo. You can have more than 2 eyes as well. So it's not like, you know. But yeah, this was just a concept. So you'd have different backgrounds, and the JSON is mapping where the eyes are going to be. So that's the concept of this one. And so then you drive TTS into it, not spacebar. But yeah, it's just another way of trying to do lightweight visual feedback for TTS. I'm sure you've seen a billion different ways, but this is a way of doing it focused on a nano banana output. So, you know, people can create whatever they want and then put in either the eye glowing speech mode or the animated mouth, you know, which is just random. You know what I mean? It's got like 6 different mouth positions, and when there's volume, it just skips through them. It's not complicated, just to make it cheap. Just to make it cheap, you know? So anyway, thank you very much. So that's that one. And you can get that one already up on the GitHub. I just forgot to post about it, to be honest. Because again, I've got a prompt that can turn conceptual ideas into shipped prototype. It's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So it gets to the point sometimes where I've put it out and then I forgot to even share it in the inside line. But there it is. All right. So that's another one. Like I said, V2 is going to have the mouth animation. Next, we have DJZ off-square nodes. Okay, so obviously this version we'll be taking a closer look at in a minute when we get into Comfy. All right, we have another building principles skill. Okay, so this is going to be part of my larger collection. I'm going to make a mini site about my building principles collection, and we are going to continue adding some of the greatest sort of influential artists, engineers, developers, producers. I want to add them into the collection because this is such a great tool. It effectively gives you an advisor. You know, what if you could ask your favorite artist for advice? We've been doing this for the longest time, but this is probably the most comprehensive way it's ever been able to do. And also, I got some bonus stuff for you too. So for you Comfy users, I've given out the profiles. So I've got a whole bunch of different nodes. We're going to be looking at them in a minute. But I've gone beyond building principles skill. So obviously, here is the building principles skill for Satomu Nihei. He is the creative genius behind Blam, Bara, Biomega, Knights of Sidonia, Aposism. I've never heard of that one, so I've got something to look up. And then Tower Dungeon, okay? Now, this is specifically for assessing creative projects. It has an image prompt enhancement system and a collection of procedural generation JSON profiles. And they're all for my 0 bytes nodes. We'll be getting into that. Okay, it's going to make your life so much easier because it comes with skills to make your own. So it's fully customizable. It's like fine-tuning for prompt engineering. That's what this is. It's fine-tuning for prompt engineering. And it's super easy. And once you've got it, you can even reproduce. Yeah? So you know all of these prompt enhancers. I've been writing prompt enhancers for about 2 years. They're good. They're great. But you'll never get the same one twice. Because the LLM often will just give you whatever it gives you every time. And it's good, it's really good, but you can't really reproduce. You can reproduce what went into it, but not what came out of it. So this is trying to address that and then benefiting from the best of both worlds by just doing both in the end anyway. So it's completely up to you how you use it. Anyway, what is the Nihei Building Principles skill? It accepts game design documents, level designs, film production design, novel world building, visual art, direction guides, scripts, code bases, architectural concepts, VR experience designs, tabletop RPG designs, and any creative project with spatial, environmental, or narrative concepts. It will then output an improved project name _readme TN for Mr. Nihei. A scored assessment with a detailed analysis using an enhanced plan with specific alignment recommendations. In other words, it aligns whatever you give him with his building principles. That's what all of the building principles skills do. I currently have quite a few of them. Okay, so it's almost like being able to ring them up and say, hey, what do you think about my plan? Or what do you think about my code base? Or what do you think about whatever it is? Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's what this actual skill does. The main skill that we're looking at here. Okay. And it's very cool. However, we're going to be focusing more on the enhancer, which is in the ENH. That's going to be used in my ENH system. The grounding for this entire repo is included, so if you want to see the information which I used to build the skill and all the profiles and the prompt enhancer, you can go ahead and take that. The Nihei Building Principles skill is unpacked in this folder here, so you can see exactly what's inside of it. So open source. And then in here we have all of the profiles for the 0 prompt generation. Okay. Hello to everybody that I didn't say hello to. I do apologize if I missed your comment. Hello Zeus, hello Kirk. I've just been like blazing through this tonight. I'm on a roll. So, as you can see, these are the dimensions which are going to be assessed by Nihei. Okay. Dread and solitude over comfort. So yes, it will be themed to his works. But it doesn't reproduce his work. It tries to create new work like you're a student of his. That's the idea. To learn from him by taking on board his advice rather than simply fine-tuning his work. We try to fine-tune his known principles and then we use that. So that's the basic idea. So we have the core identity of the man, the foundational influences from where he gets his ideas, I guess, and preferences. The architectural philosophy, because that's what he is most famous for, his architectural design. The 4 disorientations, which he uses often in many of his works. The visual language, so that we're using good tokens. And then we have 15 design axioms. Okay. The image prompt enhancement system is going to go in my E&H system. The 0 bytes profile goes in 0 prompt. That's the 0 prompt, right? 0 prompt. That's the prompt generator. Then we have the 0 E&H, which is the enhancer. And then we have the edit, which is for doing edit, like banana, quen edit, instruct based. A little bit of that flux context or whatever it is that you use. We also have fine tunes of the fine tunes. So I have edit architectural for empty scenes, edit creatures for creature and character focus, and then there's a general use one, like I said, that we already looked at. So the idea is these are slightly different from the previous prompt generators in that they make edit prompts. So they respect and try to preserve the image that you're bringing in. So that's right, it's a procedural image-to-image prompt generator that doesn't actually use AI at all. Obviously you can, and we're going to look at that too. So DJZ 0 prompt is available up on GitHub. just 0 E&H is also available up there, along with the 0 edit nodes and the E&H system. And then we'll be looking at the plugin last. All right. Workflows before we dive into Comfy. I need to drink some coffee, man. How are you all doing tonight? I hope you're having a good time. Right. So, new workflows. We have Ace Step Audio. You can now run music generation in under 10 gigabytes. You'll be happy to know. I used the Q4KM. It was nice. I've written a prompt enhancer. Okay, E&H. So obviously that's going to be part of the E&H nodes, which we'll be looking at, and we've already mentioned. To use LLM, I've made a fine-tuned profile based on their examples, so that it will make, turn your prompts into something more aligned with what the Ace Step 15 Turbo, 1.5 Turbo, wants. I also put up an example of audio to audio. Yes, it can make 5-minute songs in less than 30 seconds on a 4090. Your mileage may vary. All right, so that's pretty much that one. Banwan. What is Banwan? It's Nano Banana Pro being fed into WAN Magic. So it's T to I to I with 0 prompts. We're going to be getting to that. Okay, so Banwan. So we do banana, and then we feed it into WAN, but we do it at 1 denoise. So it completely loses the image, but we do get some source. Okay. Or not, that's up to you. 0 bytes systems. So in the DJZ workflows, we now have 0 bytes systems, a new folder which includes a bunch of examples that are also in the repos for each of those custom nodes, just so that you've got one place to grab them all, because I'm only going to put examples in the actual node repos themselves. None of these are new enough to be on the Comfy manager yet, so maybe one day. They're all too new, I haven't had time to push them. But yeah, like I said, once I get a bit more feedback, they'll get pushed. So, let's see. So we'll probably look at some of these as well. WAN Magic, we put up, I think I put up a new workflow, WAN Magic. No, I'm wrong. Maybe later. And then Quen Image. So I have put up new workflows for 2512 Quen Image and 2511 Quen Edit. So these are the latest versions that just sort of came out recently. There's not a lot in there, but there's enough in there to get you started with 0 prompt systems. That's mainly why I put them up, so I could show you how you might potentially use the system with local models, because I know everything is like banana focused these days. So I wanted to show, no, we can still actually do cool stuff because we got trained LoRa's and stuff. So we can just feed that into our thing and make it exactly right rather than being almost right. So that's the deal. That's all my workflows. We did it. Let's see. Did we have any more of these? No. Yeah, we got one more of them. That's not for tonight. ComfyUI time. All right. I hope you like workflows. So, this is my WAN Magic T2i Zenkai. Okay, but I've changed it. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Actually, let's change it together. So this will be fun. So, first of all, we got a LoRa here. What LoRa is this? M8T. Nice. And we've got the M8T. Right, okay, so this is a perfect example then. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to put lightning on it. So in case you didn't know, you can do a LoRa model only. And you can go to Litex, and you can pick up a copy of the Lightning for WAN 2.1, and it's a single file. It's called WAN 21 T2V 14B LightX 2V CFG Step to Still LoRa Rank 32. Try to say that with a mouthful of jelly. And what you'll do is you will plug it in. So do you know what? We're just going to move everything over to make a bit of room here, yeah? Just move everything over. And we've got our LoRa there, because for some reason I like tight spaces, as it seems. And we're just going to move everything over. Let's give it a bit of a breathing space. So that's our normal LoRa that's coming in here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a model-only LoRa for the Litex. Now, you'll notice that I'm actually using Magic WAN V2 Q8 GGUF with the UMT XXL Q8 in GGUF with Type WAN and the WAN 2.1 VAE. That's what we're using. And normally I'd be using 25 steps, but because we've put the lightning in there, now we can use 4 steps. Now 4 steps is good, but I think we can do better. So sometimes I like to run 6 or 8 steps. So I'm going to go for 6 steps. But then how am I going to do that? It was fine-tuned to make 4. Yes, but in the spec they mentioned reducing the strength allows you to increase the steps. Gives you a little bit more precision back. So what I'll do is I'll try 0.8 or 0.6 to go with 6 or 8 steps. It's the other way around, okay? It's inverted. You know, but it's up to you. And obviously your results may vary due to what it is you're working on. At this point, we're working on anime, so we're going to get away with quite a bit, or it's just going to be a photo. Okay. So let's see. Can we see what the prompt? So the prompt is going to be something like this. So this would be one of the captions that the LoRa was trained on. So it's a perfect scenario. It's like, imagine if the user just typed in a perfect caption. Yeah. So let's see. Are we going to get it explode now? Oh, let's just change this over to live. All right. Stick it behind me head. There it is. So yeah, I'm going to go 6 steps at 0.8 LightX, and that will give us a nice speed boost. Sometimes you can put Easy Cache on there as well. Okay. Easy Cache is actually built into Comfy now, so again, it's a nice little thing you can just throw on there. Easy Cache. And you could throw that on probably before the LoRa loader as well. I'm not going to do it yet, but Easy Cache will speed things up. It's mostly for video, to be honest. And we've got Litex, so how quick do you want it to be? Do you know what I mean? Zeus says, I used this trick, Strength of LoRa, to make better transition in I2V workflow for WAN 2.2. True. Do you know, interestingly, this Magic WAN is actually WAN 2.2, but especially interleaved for making images. And then I think what I'm going to be doing is breaking it a little bit. But so here we go. As you can see, that is the classic sort of early to, yeah, it's the early 90s style. I don't know what's going on with this lapel, but yeah, so we have some kind of mech pilot sitting in a mech thing. Got a view out the window. You see what I mean? It's that kind of style, right? So that's the perfect scenario. Do you know what I mean? And so what I want to do now is I want to put my prompt combiner in just to make sure I have the trigger, because we're going to lose that. So prompt combiner, which is part of the variationator pack. But you can use any string combination technique. This just works well for demo. So I'm going to obviously plug my existing prompt. I'm going to, well, actually, wait, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take the trigger here, put that in the top. So I make sure I don't need the comma because the separator is a comma. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in exactly like this. So if I take this, take that from the output. All right, so we're not going to use this anymore. It's very good, but we're not going to use it. Instead, we're going to use 0 prompts. If I can find it. There we go, 0 prompt v2. Now, did I have it yet? And I've got an M8T. So what I did was I used the Claude skill to create a JSON profile using the same list. So this text file here, which contains all of the captions from the LoRa that was trained, I used that with the skill for 0 prompt profile builder. So it's then created me the JSON. This is essentially a bunch of templates and a bunch of word pools. So you could think of it as hyper wildcards, but it's all designed with this intent to limit it to this set. So anyway, enough yapping, plug it in, and give it a run. We take a look at the prompt. Oh, it did include M8T style. Okay, I actually didn't need to put that there. I take it back. Some of them I do, so I'll keep that for later. Whoops. I take it back. I double capped it. Okay. But anyway, if you look at the rest of it, wide angle aerial view from a low perspective focusing on the pilot's face and upper body, a young man with tousled reddish brown hair wearing a green military uniform turns his head with a startled expression. Yeah. By confined cockpit interior. Okay. That's funny thing is that's actually a dude from the show, and he's actually in a radio van, like not in the mech with the pilot. But hey, it doesn't know that. We've been generalistic with our captioning to try and get a style, and now obviously we're like hashing up the prompts. But look, I mean, it's still got the style. It did exactly what we asked it to do, but we can do better than that. So if I just now show you the next step here, it's the ENH system. Can I get ENH? What's going on here? Do I not have that one on this machine? ENH. And maybe I don't have it yet. Okay, so maybe I have to install that. Hang on a sec. Let me just clone my workflows real quick. So yeah, just in case you didn't know, if you did git clone, GitHub, Mushroom Fleet, DJZ workflows, if you did that inside your ComfyUI user default workflows, if you did that, then you would have all 1,000 of my workflows built in a folder. Maybe they'll appear when I restart it. But yeah, they'll be in there already and searchable, which is a little bit easier because you can just do a git pull then and just get them. Okay, so if we take a look at the Zenkai ENH system, this is for used with GPTs or Claude or Gemini for prompt enhancement. We've got all kinds of different things in here for all kinds of different reasons. We like fine-tune our captions, so this is the same concept, but just evolved with the procedural deterministic stuff. So in here there will be, I believe, there is no M8T, but that's because we're going to move on to Mr. Araki. I think we'll do Araki. No. We do the main man of the night, which is not here. I need to update. This always happens. Move that over there. Alright, I got to do some stuff. I got to install things. So yeah, in case you didn't know how to do this, and obviously a lot of ComfyUI nodes aren't actually on the manager yet. Sometimes it's just because they're too new, sometimes it's because maybe the author didn't know how to do it, whatever. If you ever come across that situation, like we are now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the GitHub for the node, grab the URL, and do it manually. It's very easy, actually. I'm glad it's this easy. because, yeah, it needs to be easy. So if we take the, not that one, that's the standard ENH system for loading Markdown system prompts into LLMs. We want 0 ENH, which is the 0 bytes deterministic enhancer. So the difference is 0 prompt makes prompt. 0 ENH takes a prompt input and enhances that. So it's the same thing, but, one just makes prompt. The other one enhances an existing prompt. So there you go. And it's all based on the same idea as the added typos. It comes from the same project. So this is a downstream of that. They're all part of the 0 bytes 01 procedural collection because everything is in 0 bytes. This is video game engineering applied, you see. I wouldn't be surprised if other people have done the exact same thing and called it something else, but that's just how it goes. Alright, so obviously there's a skill in here which is used to create new profiles, and you can put your own system prompt which you've made for an enhancer, somebody else's, a list of prompts, or even just a conversation about how you want it to work. All of that is good enough to then use the skill and write out a big word pool. You could call this, like I said, hyper wildcards, because you're having multiple dimensions of wildcard be generated with determinism. That's basically what it is. An infinite universe of wildcard prompts, yeah? Okay, so we're going to take this URL and then we're going to go over to our folder. So obviously we have ComfyUI installed. We're going to go into Comfy custom nodes. Now you might not have right click open in terminal. So if you don't and you're on Windows, you can click up in the top here and just type CMD. Now hopefully if your Windows isn't cooked, you will get a terminal open in the right folder, which is nice because then you can just go git clone URL and then it will say it already exists. But hey, at least we did the tutorial, guys. If it already exists, why can't I load it? Do I have to? I bet I have to refresh the page, don't I? It's just an old tab. Chrome caching. Let's find out. 0 ENH 0 E. Yeah, there it is. So the V1 is just for testing. V2 has the profiles. So default is V1. So when I'm testing this, I get V1 and V2 together, and I make sure that default is the same as it's the best I can do, really, because it's like infinity. How do you even test infinity as deterministic? You can't, but you can try. So here we have our various different ENHs. I'm going to use 0 ENH Iraqi. Now, Iraqi is the name of one of my favorite artists behind JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If you remember earlier, we made a bunch of building principles skills. I have an Iraqi building principles skill as well. And so he can come in as a creative advisor for your design. And obviously we have a prompt enhancer for him too, and all that good stuff. So here we have prompt in, prompt out. That's the difference with this one. Okay, so here we're making our prompts from nothing. We're going to put that into there. Well, from nothing. They come from the word pools. And then we're going to put that one into there to show it. And then where are we going with it as well? We've got to actually put it into something else. Yeah, it's coming out of here. That's fine. Now, I'm going to change a few options here. I'm going to put it on full, and I'm going to put it on 200. Okay, right. So we're still going to use the M8T Mecha Anime profile. So let's see what we get. I think we've lost the tag. Yeah, we've lost the tag. So now I need to use the combiner, which I was talking about earlier, just to make sure I've got the LoRa trigger first. That's all it's for. So put that there, cancel that and run it again. Right, there we go. So we got our LoRa trigger. Oh, it's not gone. It's back. Do you know what I think happened? It's just not. It's in the middle. All right. Fine. I take it back. It's not broken. I'm fixing things that don't need fixing. Fine. It's going to be a double tag again, but that's okay. We'll do another one immediately. Okay. So here we have character. He's obviously in the cockpit again. Let's have a look at the prompt here. So what did it get from Iraqi then? What did it get? Gripping a long melee weapon. Okay, for some reason. Softer fused, visible wear, hand-drawn, dynamic, full-body shot. Cool Gray's heroic resolve, energy. There's no... Oh, it's a different one, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Hang on. So it made a robot. Interior medium close-up, slight side angle, emphasizing scale and destruction. Fireball explosion. Okay, let's have a quick look at this. Well, that's a Gundam. It's a strange Gundam show I haven't seen. But like I said, the funny thing about this is it wasn't actually captioned with Gundam or anything like that. So it was done as a general style. So anything which it managed to learn like this is a representative of a bias. You see what I mean? So this is the bad guy in the data set I used. This is like the big bad. He is the villain or whatever. That's the same mech design. So yeah, I mean it's working, right? But we're not going to do this. We're not doing this. We just want the style. So if I now go Iraqi Jojo, we just go in like that now. So this is what we're going to end up with. Predatory confidence illustration. A powerful villain wearing military-inspired jacket. Now, see, now we really do need the prefix. Okay. M8T style anime. So we do need that now. In fact, I'm just going to cancel that and start again. All right. Commanding authority fashion editorial drama scene. A regal figure in a Baroque sculpture pose wearing Versace-inspired bold pattern outfit. Fingers spread in deliberate fan pattern. Canted angle conveying wrongness. Non-naturalistic saturated palette. A lavish fashion runway stage. Crisp graphic rendering. Hard spotlight from above. Okay, let's see it. Well. You see what I mean? That's not bad. And remember, we're trying to frame this within that early 90s anime style from our pre-trained Laura. So the point of the pre-trained Laura was not to make Gundam. Okay, the point of it was to try and get to the root of what that design aesthetic is, to reproduce it in this way with new projects. That was the idea anyway. Obviously, I believe that the Laura could be retrained with enhanced, curated the captions a bit. So there's always an improvement you can make with retraining. This is a V0 is what I call them. So like an investigatory. What happens when we... But it does use my new Captioneer Personas approach, which is effectively fine-tuning the agent that is doing the captioning, much in the same way that people use skills today. It's the same concept, just for captioning. Okay, so what was the actual prompt? Menacing present scene, Renaissance anatomical definition of a fashion-forward youth in form-fitting suit with exaggerated shoulders in commanding upright pose, fingers spread in deliberate fan pattern, each finger with a distinct color identity, harsh spotlight from above, active negative space directing focus, sharp line art, bold colors. Okay, so okay, so see the shoulder pads? That's a little bit of a Gundam. It's almost like a mecha shoulder plates, so it's like, yeah, weird bias, right? So it's like clearly the mech and the people collided during the first train, but it definitely got the style. So I'm confident, it'd be worth doing it. You see what I mean? But anyway, we didn't. We just released it because we're here to show the process and the method so that other people can make cool things. So like I said, from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say fixed random I think, yeah, do we do fixed random there? No, it's random seed here. And then I'm going to fix the procedural stuff. So we'll go seed there, seed there. So now the prompt, they're both going to be on fixed random. Yeah. So then we're going to do seed travel using the same procedural prompt. All right. And like I said, if we get a good one, you can let it go, and it's quite fun. But yeah, that'll work. So in fact, let's just do new fixed random first, and I'll show you what I mean. There's another reason for the prompt combiner as well, because I haven't just made these 3 nodes. It's actually a comprehensive system for, I've got like a professional solution for JSON generation, JSON prompt, so structured prompt system. And like I said, if I show you this here, I can give you an example of what I mean. So right now we're doing M8T style anime, and then we're shooting the 0ENH. So whatever it came out of the system, we're going to get that. Okay. Now that's great. It's not very anime, but it's trying to make cool stuff. Okay. Seems to have lost the trigger there. Anything? Seems to have lost it. Anyway. So what we can do, let me get to it, is I call it Z2J, which is 0 to JSON. I already have Flux to JSON nodes. That's the pack that does the JSON orchestration. Z2J is a suite, and these are customizable as well. Okay, you can make your word banks and templates for how that works there. But essentially, if I wanted to do mood, I could say, do you know what I know that mood 42 is exactly the one I want. And now it's going to put mood 42 in there. Or I can go, I wonder what other moods are out there. There's probably 1 trillion moods. I don't know the numbers on the site. So you can find that also under 0 to JSON nodes. All of these are going to be in the manager soon. It's just I've been busy building them and testing them. But essentially it's fully customizable with the JSON system. And there are many Z2J nodes. I have scene, style, lighting, camera depth of field, seed mixer. I don't really use that one. I think I got that one for free. So thank you, Claude, but I don't think we need it. Background, composition, subject pose, camera angle, camera focus. Info shows you what is in the profile. Obviously you can write these with an LLM. You just drop the ones. So say you want to add special poses. Say I want to make JoJo's Bizarre poses. Okay, I can drop the subject pose default JSON into a chat, and then maybe I'll use the JoJo grounding that I already have. Drop those 2 in. Say make me a new one, which is all JoJo poses, please. Anyway, there's many others. Okay, Z2J. The example shows them all plugged in to the Flux 2 JSON, so you can see a full implementation, but I wouldn't use them like that. That's like a lucky slot machine or something. I would use 1 or 2 of them with precision like this. So maybe I'd want mood and background or something. Or no, not at all. They're totally like advanced tools which you may never use. Like I say, I actually think that keeping prompts simple has a lot of value. So, Fernicar says, is there another anime for posers? Another anime for posers? Samurai Champloo, maybe? That's got an interesting style for poses. Afro Samurai is it really an anime? That's got interesting poses. One that will compete with JoJo, says Fernicar. I don't know, man. It's so iconic. JoJo's, I don't know if it might actually be in a league of its own. I mean, everyone knows the Naruto run. Everyone knows the Dragon Ball Z pose for the Kamehameha. I don't know, it's kind of hard. because it's almost like it's all about the pose in JoJo, you know, because it's almost like street gang stuff. It's almost like hoodlum stuff, but it's not. Yeah. Yeah, Gainax and Madhouse. Yeah, maybe you want to go to like Cyber City Oedo, Cyber City 808 Oedo, or maybe AD Police, you know, one of these sorts of things. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So where were we? We were messing about with adding prompts in and stuff. Yeah. Let's get it done then. So like I say, 0ENH Iraqi is one of the latest ones. We have many, but so we're going to do Nihei instead. And over on this side, let's do the Valkyrie. Okay, so we'll go boom. Valkyrie is my project where there is no LoRa. There have never been any images. I mean, I will be training a LoRa and stuff, but it started out with nothing but prompt engineering. That's the idea, right? It starts out with nothing. The whole concept was, the Valkyrie project was to create a bunch of characters which are consistent to a degree within the sort of concept without LoRas, yeah? So get consistent concept, no LoRa, right? Just doing one-shots and stuff. That didn't work. Have we still got the Gundam LoRa loaded? We have. I should put Gundam in the negative. Why is it even making a Gundam right now? Hang on a minute. So we've got... Oh, maybe Nihei? No, it's because M8T style. I don't know. Valkyrie aesthetic, drawing blade. I guess that's how it came out. Let's do another one. That's funny. Hang on. That's literally not what we're looking for right now. Oh, wait. It's on locked seed, isn't it? Derp. Let's try a different... there you go. I completely forgot that I've been locking stuff down. So we're just going to get the same image with any luck. Yep, same image. Okay. Fixing seeds works. Okay. It's better. Still not what we're looking for. Time to turn the LoRa off. It's probably too strong, actually. True. 0.6. It's way too strong. Way too strong. Okay. Turn it down first, then turn it off. Probably won't be anime anymore. I do find that my Thora LoRa is actually more... It's actually better for this. And then we'll need it back again. Oh... Yeah, it's a photo now. Oh no! There we go, it's alright guys. He's panicking. Did it not get the memo? I think it didn't get the memo. Hang on. Valkyrie 0 prompt JSON. Yeah, anyway, we'll do some more stuff with this in a sec. Did it forget to say... Oh, I know. I gotta put woman. I gotta put Thora... Whoa! Woman. for it. There we go. Thora style anime woman. And then if we just say red hair, we can make it legit. We haven't done red hair in this style yet. Okay. So yeah. It's the style. Zeus says, any magical girl anime has fancy pose for transformation. Well, dance poses are hard, guys. Oh, I think that's a Thora, don't you? There's a lot of stormtroopers around, though. We might turn her up a bit. Let's turn her up a bit. Let's say 0.9. And try that again. Now I think, yeah, we're on a random seed, but this is the same. So, where does it say stormtroopers here? It says walking through crowd of lesser beings. That's kind of funny. So it just said lesser. Okay, those are... Ah, there we go. Lesser beings. Right there. For some reason, the horn is in the back of her head. I mean, it's in her back. Brilliant. Now, obviously, to increase the accuracy of this sort of stuff, I would throw a prompt enhancer in. And that is why we have the E and H systems here. Right? And often I would lead it with something like, I'll update the prompts for what you see, you know, for the character in this reference image. And then it more or less works the same as it does already. The only difference is there's an additional step with an LLM, which is going to look at an image input of your character. And then hopefully we actually get close to making that. So how about we skip forward an hour and just say, here's one I made earlier, right? Now this would be the Banwan technique, but I've bypassed the ban. So this up here is obviously the nano banana nodes. It's funny, this version says 28 credits, but my other Comfy still says in dollars. That's very confusing. But yeah, we're going to be using one of my inputs. So there's a character that Wan made, and we're going to use the vision and clean up the concept there and Thorify it, basically using my Laura. Okay. Now this one is not Thora, because skull pads, skull motif on the shoulders, and purple hair. That's how you know it's a different girl. But let me just take you through what we're actually doing here, because it is a little bit different from before. So if we ignore the banana stuff and just generate, so if I'm gonna go ahead and make a new image, so it'll be new fixed random. I've got 4 images. I'm going to queue the 4 images. So we're going to use my 0 prompt v2 with Araki Jojo. These are all included in the repo, by the way. I'm not going to leave you short-handed. All of the ones I'm showing you will be available when you get the notes. And we're going to go straight into the Valkyrie 0 ENH profile, which is going to enhance any prompt to make it more like the Valkyrie faction I was talking about. So it's literally a prompt engineered faction that has no Laura at the moment. But it's getting very consistent. Okay. Now, from the enhanced prompt, we put that into slot 2, just like before. Okay. And slot 1 gets the following. Use the woman with the long purple hair, so I am describing her. Embossed skull faces on shoulder plates and the same black rogue's outfit and single asymmetric cranial horn, which is the Valkyrie aspect, using the character reference image to update this prompt, creating a new composition. So, this image, clearly that's the long purple hair with the horn and the shoulder pads, right? So that woman, all right. And then this image goes into the LLM with Sonnet 4.5. our API key, which is stored in a markdown file in the ENH system along with all of our other system prompts. And then we're going to show, so this here, use the woman with the long purple hair, blah, 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 prompt, okay, goes into the input. And then for the system prompt, we're going to be using T2I Nihei. So I'm going to generate a prompt, generate enhancements for the prompt, append an instruction in front of it, feed that into my LLM with my programmed T2I Nihei enhancer. So now we're getting Araki plus Valkyrie and then corrected for what the LLM sees in the image plus the Satomi Nihei programming. All right, and that's going to give us this prompt. So let's just put that up on the screen. And people can pause that and read it if they want to. And if I was obviously going to lock it down, it's going to be that every time. But what we're doing is we're running on seeds. So every image that comes out is going to be different, but the same character with the same style and aesthetic of, you know. So this is obviously a Thora Laura. It's like vaguely sci-fi. But it has all of the hallmarks of the character design that we're looking for. So it's almost like we're injecting that character into a different universe, really, is what it ends up being. And then obviously we can just create new characters as well, because all it really is the input reference plus a little description of what makes her unique from anybody else. And obviously it could be a dude, it could be a robot, it could be a car, it could be a toaster. Okay? But the point is you get the full suite. Now, there's one last thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this. Okay. And I'm going to go with a new workflow. Right. I'm going to say load image. Okay. Load image. We're going to get that image we just made. Okay. And we're going to go with a nano banana. Nano banana. I do actually prefer local models. They're so much faster. It's like 20 seconds. Sometimes you'll wait 40 seconds to even get it to start. And sometimes it'll take hundreds of seconds to return. So I do enjoy the APIs, but clearly still advantages to doing it yourself if you can. I know not everybody can, so I don't judge. But at the end of the day, okay, whatever. So, edit. The one thing we didn't show you yet was the zero edit nodes. So, zero edit is exactly what you might expect it to be. In fact, let's just move that over. You get what we're using that image, yeah? So it goes straight into edit. Just like that. Now, just for the sake of not wasting everybody's time, if we mute that for a second and do a show any, we can just quickly blitz some of these profiles and I can show you what is going on here. So yeah, it's clean. Okay, so what we do is we go to preview. There we go, preview. There we go. There we go. What am I doing? Autopilot. Okay, go. Make this bigger. So let's get this closer. All right. So default edit is basically what I built it on. It's a mimic of the original, but I've done it for edit. So what is it? Completely new setup of word pools, okay? Completely new templates. Try to keep the background elements intact. Transform the image into a classic oil painting, you see? So could we just go back to that? So, again, yep. Change the wall to green. Change the hair to platinum blonde. Add a classic wristwatch. Now, of course, this is like anything. It's anything, right? So it doesn't actually make any sense because it's like, well, you need an image of a guy with you know what I mean? So what we've done is this is an example which helps the LLM to know how to make new ones. So say we do the Valkyrie. So transform this image into Valkyrie warrior attendant. Add spiral twist half horn emerging from the left skull, golden metal sheathing. Change outfit to antique bronze reflective bodysuit, crimson red. Okay. So this is the Valkyrification edit tool. You see, it'll just make everything Valkyrie, right? With an edit prompt. Now she already is a Valkyrie, right? So you'd think, well, that's going to work, isn't it? You'd think. So let's show you a couple more. So obviously I've also got the Nihei stuff. So let's say Nihei creatures, right? Post-human entity, partially merged with infrastructure, lower body dissolving into bundled cables and pipe networks. Upper torso still recognizably human, but with still reinforcement visible through translucent skin. Okay then. What about the next one? Silicon crystalline growths emerging from the subject's shoulders and spine. Okay. Replace the subject's eyes with dark sensor clusters, multiple small lenses arranged in an asymmetric pattern where each eye should be. Very, very cool stuff. I would say hallmark signatures of Nihei's work. But there you are. We also have architectural. Very good for backgrounds. So it's going to make backgrounds. Okay, and obviously doop, 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 doop. Right? That's the thing. It's procedural determinism. We can lock it down. Now, you might say to me, cool, Johnson, you've got 8 million whatever. There's also a prompt index. So you can multiply the seed by whatever the max for this is. What is it, 99999? Yeah, it's the same. So you could, it's seed to the power of seed. It's as good as infinite. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You can make your own. You can make your own. So even if you manage to do them all, anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is it's a huge system. So yeah, like I said, if we put it here and we say fixed, we get that one. If I now go to prompt index 1, oh, it's changed again. You see, more, just more prompts, infinite prompts, infinite. Anyway. So let's see how it do. So I probably should put a show any on so we can see what it's actually doing. Let's use that one. Not good enough? Not really. We want to go to the side. So we're going to be using this input image every time of one of my new original characters. She's just put, it's Thora with purple hair, okay? I know it, you know it. All right. Oh, come on, don't. 28 seconds. See, I would throw it on. I've been playing a lot with WAN Magic lately. It's very fast. And the Quen image turbos. Didn't seem to really change much. What was it supposed to do? Replace all illumination with cold blue-white light reflecting off of frost-coated metal surfaces. Industrial infrastructure should layer with obsessive density, whatever that means. Let's just grab the original so we can see exactly what it did. Like this. Yeah. Should we put it on, what's it on? Architecture. Yeah, we want to put it on creatures. I want to make her into a silicon entity of some description. Let's change the shape. We will change the shape to something like that. Just so I can get in a bit closer. Whoa. Screw the workflow, we're doing a demo. Okay. Go. Using the provided image, change the wall color to a sage green. What? Something went wrong there. Oh, I didn't look. It's on default edit. I was changing the other one. That's my bad. So we'll go to knee-high creatures first then. And stop that one. Stop that. Stop that. Right, there we go. We're back. We're back on track. So, Zeus says, Nano Banana is probably no set first in line in Google QoS. QoS? What, quality of service? Oh, not set first in line. Right, right. Yeah, you would think it, well, yeah, you'd think it was, but then you'd know it's not. So, yeah. We want it to be important, but it's probably not important. So using provided transform subject into biomechanical humanoid organic. Okay, we've got to be careful with this. The limbs need to be wrong. Ooh, okay, we got away with it, boys. So yeah, it's become Nano Banana-fied. One thing I've noticed about Nano Banana lately is that you can tell it does the same outlining, the same texture tricks. It's like actually quite easy to spot now. I don't know if you guys have found the same thing, but you know, here you can clearly see the background hasn't been touched, but the character here you can see it's the classic sort of it's the classic style anyway. It's pretty good. Do another one and put it onto Iraqi style as well to show you what that one will do there. So obviously this is procedural edits. Now my people say, oh great, procedural deterministic edits. Which seed do I push? The answer is all of them are good if you have, you know, for the right thing. So what I would do is I would do a brute. I'd do 1,000 images with random, and then I'd look through all of those ones and I'd go, oh, that's an interesting edit. And then I'd get that number. It's pretty much what it is. I'll mine for the edits that I'm looking for. So at the moment, we're trying to make post-societal, post-machine society collapse. So in other words, the humans are gone, the machines took over, now the machines are also gone or dying out. So we've got like a dystopian machine civilization, that's what the concept we're looking at here, right? And so yeah, it's doing that. Obviously I'm putting my character source in there to try and guide it, but essentially that's what's happening here, right? Okay. Can we get some Iraqi? Let's get some Iraqi energy up here, just to show you the contrast when you're using this setup. So again, input is one of my Valkyrie girls, and then we're going to be using procedural determinism with the edit. So the edit system has infinite prompts because you can make your own, you know, you can make your own custom JSON. It's like hyper, it's like hyper wildcards, but it's all written by the AI. There you go. Is that not JoJo enough? It's trying. See how it tried? It tried to make it JoJo. We'll do another one. The head looks weird though. The head does look weird. So, but it tried to JoJoify it. You see what I mean? By picking a JoJo instruction. Now obviously this is just randomly generated. I've got unlimited. Oh, it's using the same one. Yeah, let's change it. Unlimited prompts, and he put it on fixed. Just going to do the same thing. Stop. It would have been different because, as I've been finding, even if you fix the seed on Nano Banana, it doesn't. Well, I'm guessing that whatever they're doing on their side, it changes. Probably the prompt. I bet their prompt changes because they've got a lot of prompt engineering here. And the thing about prompt engineering is if you run the same prompt engineering task twice, you get a different outcome. So it's not deterministic, right? But yeah, I've made a right pig's ear of this workflow. Here we go. I think we all know what it looks like. There we go. It didn't change the pose or the scene, but it did the lighting. So apply purple gold villain energy color treatment with palette shifted freely for emotional peak. Add strong underlighting, creating dynamic upward shadows. Compose with theatrical me-staging over naturalistic positioning. Keep the subject's identity and core features unchanged. Yep. Check, 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 and check. You see? It didn't quite do the contrapposto with the S-curve. When you think about it, which rule is more important, you know? Which rule is more important? So who else have we got? We've got Araki, we've got the Nihei stuff, we've got the Valkyrie stuff. I think we'll just use, we'll use Valkyrie on her. We'll make her even more Valkyrie. Okay. So, that means you've got procedural prompt generation, procedural prompt enhancement, procedural edit prompt generation. And with the E&H system, it's possible to correct things and have like a fourth point of influence. And then obviously you can chain the edit prompts too. So this is a full system. You can also pipe it all into the Flux to JSON system. So if you want to do structured with control that's generated. So this is a neat system. It works very well. I'm very happy with it. There's the original image input. And that is our edit. Not bad. It did actually do the JoJo pose. Oh, I think we must be one delayed. So that's the S pose with the contrapposto. So that was the JoJo, and then this is the Valkyrie. There you go. That's correct. We've got the bronze armor. She's looking a little bit pale, and it's got some geometric stuff going on there. Crystalline metal sheathing. Geometric horn with crystalline metal sheathing. Definitely the Araki is the most fun. Honestly, the Araki stuff is so good. Every time. We'll do one more. Okay. And then I get to talk about the final thing. So thank you all for sticking with me. I'm very glad to announce that the Narrative Spittoon version 4.0 has finally arrived. So Narrative Spittoon in version 4.0, but it's arrived in the form of a Claude plugin. So unlike a lot of the things I've been doing lately, which is Claude skills, system prompts, all this sort of stuff, custom nodes, what we've got here is a plugin rather than just a skill file that you add to your Claude. Now it's a plugin, which is a little bit nicer. We can do some extra stuff with that. Transform the subject with Renaissance meets haute culture aesthetic. Striking asymmetrical pose with hips angled opposites shoulders, one hand raised with fingers spread wide, dramatic rim lighting, catching every surface with deep shadows. Burnt orange against deep cyan palette dominates the Gauguin synthetism influence with bold non-realistic tones. Add fashion-forward details with unique symbolic accessories. Frame with worm's eye view, making figure tower monumentally. There's one for you, Fern. That's a nice one, that is. Worm's eye view. It's an interesting little keyword there, which I always forget. Worm's eye view, making figure tower monumentally. Interesting. Preserve the original subject's face and recognizable elements. So there we have it. It's looking very Nano Banana. You see the outlines? You see the outlines on everything? And when you zoom in on it, you can definitely tell. You know what I mean? I think they've done this on purpose, by the way. So you can tell. But that's just me. That's just a theory. So let's have it make another one. Ooh. Yeah, it's on random. Have it make another one. So, NSI 4.0. Boom. That's not it. Hang on. Yes. Here it is. So, Narrative Spittoon in version 4. This is a plugin. It just came out. Now, what I've done is I've made Why does it say 3? Oh, yeah. So main branch is obviously main branch. Main branch is the same as the light branch right now. Now, there is another branch called examples. And the difference between it is the stories. So normally you just get these files. You get the NSL, the page 5, and the NSL. These are like for testing. So I've given you a last page for Landlocked, and I've given you NSL only for VHS Man. Now, these are two NSL files that contain the complete narrative for writing books about these two narratives. So in the main repo, just to make it quicker for people cloning, what I've done is I've just basically deleted the examples, right? So they're still there. The examples are in the examples branch, okay? But the main branch is the light branch. And the only difference is I deleted these because it's like 2 books. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't want to be downloading 2 books with my note with this every time. Yeah, everyone has to download. You get 2 free books with my plugin. Congratulations. So I deleted these. But they contain the full 5-page, full 5-chapter story for reruns of Landlocked and VHS Man, which we used for testing when developing the previous narrative Splatoon in version 3.0. So, like I say, 4.0, the only difference is 3.0, you need an open router key, and you can use any model you want. You go to spatoonscribe.originai.com, and that's where you get it. Obviously, when you're here, you're going to put your key in. Okay, if you're a Careless Passport user, obviously you can just sign in with your account on Google Sign In, but there's not many of them. It's a small test group we're running at the moment. It'll be on public release soon. In case you're wondering what that is and why it doesn't work, it does. It's just not public yet. The manual entry where we have here, we just put it says get your API key from Open Router AI. So if you have an Open Router key, you put that there. You put the model name, copy that from Open Router as well. So I would write with Grok cheap just to see it working. But essentially you can use whatever model that you want. We put the name of our project. If you have an NSL file already, because we made the standard for that. So if you have an NSL file, you can just load it. Same with the plugin. But if you want to start a new project, you go there, click next. It's going to do a 20-question interview, or it's going to dissect your law book, which you obviously copy in as plain text. After that point, it's like a wizard. It'll write the book for you with your ideas and all your law. Very simple. We've had this out now for probably 6 months, maybe. I don't know. It's been around at least since before last. Yeah, maybe I'd say. I'd have to double check on that. Let me see if I can find a date. When did we do that? When did we do it? It's on my other machine. Right, anyway. It's like a side tangent. But anyway, Narrative Splatoon 3.0 is available for use over on spatoon-scribe.originai.com. If you're on scuffedepoch.com, you can just use the link in the top right corner to get to the Splatoon collection, which is where all my writing tools are. So what we're doing is we're making a Claude Code plugin for Splatoon Scribe. That's what this actually is. There will be additional plugins for Splatoon Uno, which obviously is the stage 2 in our writing process. But if we can get Claude Code to do drafts, it's worth looking into making Uno for it. Everything else is kind of a derivative or an evolution based on that. So, okay. Back. Right. So anyway. Back. Right. So how do you install the Claude plugin? Well, that's the fun part. You install it direct. This is one of the reasons why I'm getting into this, because the problem with skills is they're a little bit difficult to install and share. They had a skill file, .skill, which is a zip named .skill, which contained all of the different files you need, and that was easy enough to share. But then people are having trouble installing them, things like this. So when it comes to, especially when it came to Claude Code, because where even is Claude Code? People can't even find the damn thing. It's in a dot folder, so you have to unhide your folders to be able to see it. Not everyone's done that or knows how to do that. But anyway,
let's not get into the weeds here. You type Claude plugins add. That's it. Claude plugins add. So it's a bit like git clone. You see what I mean? And then you just put in the name of my repo right here. So that's brilliant. You know, that's brilliant. So then, you know, you come along with Claude at the command line. There's a lot of devices that support that. Yeah, I got it running on my Steam Deck, so I could write a book on my Steam Deck with this. It would be easy. So I'm just kind of impressed with how this is moving so quick. But anyway, you can also do it locally by doing git clone and then doing Claude plugins add and then // for the name of the folder. So, you know, 2 ways of doing the same thing. Now, when you're actually in it, we have all these different commands that we can use. But if I'm being honest, I did it with natural language. So I just said we can use narrative Spittoon in version 4 to write a new book using this last page, name of the page, and this NSL file and the name of the NSL file. And he went, okay, I'll do that then. So yeah, unattended book writing using the techniques that we developed in this community fully. It's working. It just hasn't been tested very much. Just to give you a bit of comedy, the first thing it did was write a book, and it said halfway down the page, full content is on page, name of the page. So it's really funny. The first thing he did was truncate the entire story. So I had to slap him a little bit to make him actually do his job right. But he is now mimicking the same NSL. I'm calling it Narrative Spittoon in version 4 because some things had to change to make it work as a plugin. But it's much more accessible, can be run on more devices, you know what I mean? So I would say this is a good move. Obviously, time will tell to see what the writing quality is. I don't know if Opus versus Haiku versus Sonnet. You know, I would say probably Haiku or Sonnet. I think Opus is probably overkill. But hey, maybe you're writing Lord of the Rings Volume 5. I don't know what you're doing. So you might need Opus, okay? I would never say no. Just bear in mind, Opus is extremely hungry for your tokens. So you'll have a better time on a budget with Haiku if we're talking about that. Now, I'm hoping that these will be compatible with Open Code, which opens the door to Olama local models that have tool use and things like Quen, Code, Next, and all these other beautiful Kimi, all these other things which can be used that are outside of the Anthropic ecosystem. But I have to look into that. And if it is the case we have to convert them, there'll just be more repos that convert them, okay? Because really it's just a port or a transformation or a whatever. So there it is. And as you can see, it's doing the exact same process. The stories look good. So I'm most likely going to start working on the Uno because it does work. It's the same process. If you've ever done narrative Spittoon inversion, it's the same process. And obviously you can customize your frameworks, which is what we looked at the other day as well. At the end of this process, I don't just dump your story. There are also additional cool features which this can do that the others can't. One of them is the holographic tutor. So the holographic tutor gives you a score, review, a critic, and a weakness. We do have an improved version of this which includes the semantic echo from our man Fernica. Now, the thing is, we can actually run that on a loop with iterations. So the agent for the holographic tutor triggered by score my story, review my writing, critique this page, find weakness, and assess quality. Now remember, the tutor doesn't write, he gives you feedback, and then you do more writing with the tool. Okay? But anyway, I don't want to get into the weeds because this is a new tool. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. The bucket builder distills from either the 20-question interview or from your law book, which you can obviously generate through a long conversation with Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or whoever it is. But here are the commands. So NSI4 start name, NSI4 interview, which is to give you, that builds your law book if you don't have one from doing a 20-question interview with you. And obviously you can copy paste whatever you want in there. NSI4 bucket, all artifacts technical. So this will distill the lore book into all of the different files which are used in the process. NSI4 frameworks, that's in phase 3. That will verify the cognitive framework. So there is a point where you can change your dream team or whatever programming. I do have like a personas that are being used in the writing. So it is possible to get in there and change those. I'll probably make it more obvious in later versions to do that. NSI4 generate gives page number. So obviously I tell him to just do the whole thing, guys. I write my last page and I've written out what I want the story to be. So really it's like I just need him to fill in the gaps of Dave walked to location B and then Charles came back from location C. It's like I've already mapped it all out. He just needs to fill it in with all of the stuff because it's like a pre-programmed. It's like a stage production. You know, you give the actors the scripts, you give the stagehands all of the sets you want, and then you let it, and you roll cameras, baby. And then we automate the whole thing. So he is doing theater according to your spec. Okay, that's what it is. And then that comes out in text as a story. Because obviously things lead because, but, therefore. Anyway. In reverse. So the one thing I wanted to show last was this. This is the new feature, which was not in any previous NSI. So, refinement passes. Okay. So we have NSI refine, phase 5, score, speech, repetition, smoothing, environment, all. I believe I probably developed this with Semantic Echo and Uno, but it's like we already have a separate tool for doing enhancement, and I was planning on putting it in there, but this is like a little test, so you can do passes. So how many? Which one? Which one do you want to do? Do you want to do smoothing? Do you want to look for repetition? Now the idea with this is it doesn't actually change it for you. It gives you a report. And then you tell your agent to act on the report. Or you do it yourself. Whoa, typing. So yeah, NSI for export, import, and then the path. So that would be to get your bucket that's now been written. So you've just written with a narrative bucket. It's going to convert it into the NSL format, which is possible to load next time. Obviously, it'll make them for you, but you can load them too. Right. And that's obviously an XML format. Full specs up on the GitHub. There's links everywhere. Good times. Okay, so how are we looking here? There it is. Transform the subject with Renaissance meets horticulture aesthetic. Okay. Not bad, not bad. It's a little bit crazy with the, what do you call it? What's it called? It's a little bit crazy with, oh, I know what to do. This is what I wanted to show you earlier, actually. So if I go to the Zenkai ENH at this point, and then we go and get our Nihei ENH right here, and put that in there, we can temporarily override the Nano Banana system prompt with one of ours. And we'll do this. Transform image to JoJo style illustration. Subject takes deliberate triangular composition pose with distinct weight shift, arm bent at exaggerated angle, creating dynamic silhouette. Hand framing face with spread rigid fingers. Apply fuchsia pink, clashing with. But you know what? I'm going to stop reading because. Oh no, I'm wrong. I thought it was going to get changed. Hand framing face, spread rigid fingers, fuchsia pink clashing with ocean blue palette, shifted freely for emotional peak. Create theatrical spotlight effect with face partially shadowed, eyes gleaming. Dutch angle composition for psychological unease. I missed the Dutch angle. And we've got an extra arm. Oh well. Poor old banana. It got everything else right though. You just crop it there. There you go. It's not so bad. Hang on. There you go. That's better for you guys. You can actually see that. There you go. Yeah. So, let's see what people are saying before we wrap this up. Towering height also does worm's eye view. More interested at eye level view of towering height. Interesting. Difference is that people's head at the same level, super tall subject towers them all. Yeah, the biggest problem we've been having is the bias towards big head. you will often find the proportions are completely busted. And I wonder sometimes if it's a form of fingerprinting, like, you know, they deliberately leave stuff like that in so that they can, you use Gemini, you know. I'm sure it's not that, but wouldn't surprise me. So Zeus says, this is what I'm looking for, probably talking about the NSI stuff. So many local models to try on. I want to try that with Minstrel 3B as a writer. Good idea. Like I said, I'm hoping that we can make the Claude Code plugin work with OpenCode, because I'm sure OpenCode have got plugin support. I'll have to check that, but the point is that would allow you to use Olama with Claude Code, essentially, but in an easy way, because obviously OpenCode isn't a total science project. It is actually a thing that you can just run and not need to be a nuclear engineer to get it set up right. It's all about ease of use these days. If it's not easy to use, whatever it is will get beaten, you know. Anyway, on that note, I think I'll leave you with that. Don't forget that there are skills. So when you download the custom nodes, you'll notice that in the custom node folder, you will find the .skill, which you can upload to your Claude Code or your Claude Web. And then you can just simply make your own. It's I need you to use this prompt list with the 0 prompt dash profile dash builder skill, right? And that's all you really need to do. It's very easy. And then you'll have your own custom JSONs, and they can fire up your work in ways which would, you know, you just have to sit there and contemplate, oh, what shall I put here? What shall I put there? That's gone. It's fully automated. Now, obviously, you can always do manual override. You can always use your prompt lists. We've got all of that still there. It's not gone anywhere. But now, for quick benchmarking, quick testing, this is all I'm using now. And like I said, the nice thing is, if I send it to you, you get the same thing as me, because it is deterministic from the numbers. So it eliminates the whole, oh, what did he type thing. And we've got it in all three ways. You know, we've got the prompt generation, and then we also have the enhancement. Yes, .skill is just a basic zip file, exactly, but an advanced skill would contain Python scripts, potentially Node.jsx, definitely lots of really big markdown files, which are used beyond the skill.md, which I'm used to distributing to people. But yeah, .skill is a basic zip file. However, we're talking not about .skill. This is a plugin. So the plugin is a format that contains many skills. So you see what's happened there? We've gone from system prompt to skill to collection of skills in your plugin. So this is actually going beyond the sort of... look, I'm not going to say it because Maltbook is amazing, right? Maltbook, Claudebot, whatever. But they use skills. So if you now have a new thing which is abstracted above the skill to allow skill sets, okay, then that's like a whole new level above, and that's what we want to start playing with. So you're going to expect more Claude plugins from me, and I'll be looking into trying to get them running into open code, because then anybody can use all of it. Because my goal is not, although I do use Anthropic and I use Claude and I think it's great, my goal isn't to convert you. I'm a model agnostic guy. All of my implementations are model agnostic. I don't want to be tied to a model. I want to use, you know, what if a new model came out tomorrow called Golden Boy and it was the best thing ever? Well, I'd be boned if all my stuff only worked on Sonnet, right? So that's why I designed with that in mind, because what do they say in Starship Troopers? You're in charge until you die or we find someone better, something like that. So that's the view. My favorite is Claude, but you know, you never know what's around the corner, do you? Okay, that's everything I got for you tonight, guys. Don't forget to check out the new LoRa's. Don't forget to check out all the new nodes. Thank you for sitting through with me on this fine Sunday evening. We'll be back next week at an earlier time slot, 4 p.m. next Sunday, but we're going back to the long Sunday show again. So that's how we're going to do it. I am very busy, so don't worry about me. I'm not like going to be disappearing or anything. We are actually just working very hard right now. and that will guarantee us being here for years to come, not months. So anyway, thanks again, ladies and gents. As always, it's my pleasure, and I'll see you next time.
I can be this, she laid at myself, I take this, so pet, no, it's so she in.